Generally speaking, candidates do not score high marks in the comprehension test. This poor performance is caused by two chief errors. Number one, failure to comprehend in the true sense of what comprehension means. And by comprehend, I mean comprehending the text, the reading text that is given to them. Number two, failure to read the questions carefully. That is also a chief error that is the cause of poor performance of student in this section of reading paper that we call reading comprehension questions or the comprehension section. Before you are going to attempt a comprehension question or you are going to deal with comprehension section, you should ask yourself, is the answer lying on the surface of the text, or is there something I need to work out? How long should my answer be? How short is my answer allowed to be? Am I allowed to use the words of the original text? Do I need to use my own words? Is the question asking only about the story or argument of the text? Is the question asking about particular feature of language? Like that. So let's go through these questions one by one. But let's first understand the basic concept of comprehension. What do we mean by comprehension? So what is actually comprehension? The verb to comprehend means to grasp with the mind, to take in. Keep that definition in mind as you answer comprehension questions. Because comprehension is understanding in depth, grasping with the mind, taking in the material which you are dealing with. And T.S. Eliot, a famous Anglo-American writer, called it, and he used the phrase, wrestle with the words. So it's like just like that. You have to wrestle with the words to find the true meanings of the text. And also, as a famous author recently published a book called The Anxious Generation, in which he established a very good argument that how our recent generation, they have very low focus span. So that also creates trouble for a lot of many O levels and IGCSE English students basically, because they're unable to focus on the overall meaning. They're unable to focus on particular line and words and to understand, grasp what they are reading. They cannot focus consistently on a narrative text that is there for maybe 900 words. So it becomes difficult for them to grasp the true meaning. That's why I call that the poor performance is caused by two chief errors. Number one, failure to comprehend. So the less focus span is also a cause. So you need to do a lot of intensive reading before you go for the exam. So you can do this at your home. You can do this in your class. If you are attending any classes with a teacher, you can get assigned some task of reading text and read it intensively. Try to read between the lines. Try to be very intensive, focused reader when you are reading text. You need a lot of different types of text to read and practice. And as the recent syllabus suggests that there will be narrative text that you will have to read, so focus on narrative text. You can go for novels especially that will be intriguing for you, like Gulliver's Travel by Jonathan Swift, like Tale of Two Cities, and other there are many interesting novels you can ask. I will try to add in comments on description section below. So then, okay, this the one thing is reading. If you want to know the details about what is intensive reading, what is extensive reading, what is skimming and scanning, you should go for another video that I uploaded on types of reading skills. Then you have to read the questions before reading text. That will help you to be more focused on finding exact what the questions demand from you when you will be reading the text. For difficult words that you don't know the literal meanings, try to guess their meanings with the help of context in which they are being used. First of all, you have to decide whether the question is literal or inferential comprehension questions. So in literal comprehension question, answer lies on the surface of the text, that we call the explicit meaning of the text. You can easily find out the explicit meaning of the text without doing much struggle and without wrestling with the words. But for implicit meaning, you need to read between the lines. Inferential comprehension questions are those where you have to work out. They're not easily to be caught. You have to work out, you have to think, you have to be more focused. You have to go beyond the actual literal meaning, apparent meaning of the text. You have to go for the deeper level of the text to find out. And you have to actually to work out. You have to do inference, that you have to find certain things. So first step is to identify whether the question is literal or inferential. Here are some examples. Now read the text carefully. The old oak tree stood tall in the middle of the field, its branches spreading wide like a guardian watching over the land. Every year the townsfolk gathered beneath its shade to celebrate the harvest. This tree with its deep roots was a symbol of strength and endurance for community. Now here is an literal question. Where did the townsfolk gather every year to celebrate the harvest? So here it was, gathered beneath its shade to celebrate the harvest, mean beneath the shade of the old oak tree. Now here is an inferential question. What does the old oak tree likely symbolize for the community based on its description? So for this, you will have to work out. You have to see like a guardian watching over the land. Okay, it's a central force, symbolizes strength and endurance for the community, as it is described with deep roots and as a guardian watching over the land. So that type of question for which you have to work out a little. There is also another example of inferential questions where you have to find out, trace out, explore different feelings of character using your own words normally. Okay, here is another example. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the village slowly came to life. Lanterns were lit, casting a warm glow on the cobblestone streets, and the sound of laughter echoed from the market square. It was the start of the annual festival, a time when the villagers forgot their worries and celebrated together. So, literal question, what even caused the village to come to life at the sunset? The start of the annual festival caused the village to come to life. Then there are inferential questions. What might the annual festival represent for the villagers based on the description? Now you have to think a little about it. You have to go deeper and you have to work out to find the answer, although it has been solved here for you. The annual festival likely represents a time of joy, community, and escape from daily worries as the villagers come together to celebrate and forget their concerns. Now, using your own words, there is a frequently asked question by our O level students. They normally ask whether we can use our own words or not and how to judge. So keep in your mind this basic principle that you can use material from text unless you are asked to use your own words. So if there is a signpost that is giving you a clue, if there are clear instructions that you have to use your own words, only then you are bound not to use the words from text. Otherwise, you can always use material from the text. But this is again an art that you need to practice again and again continuously, and you have to submit your comprehension, that you solve comprehension questions. You need to submit your answers to your teacher to give you feedback and get it checked by your teacher again and again, to develop this craft in you, to get this skill in you, that how to use text even if when you are using, because you don't add extra information while using the text. Here is an example. Read the text. The appearance of land at the end of a long sea voyage must be a welcome sight for any ship's captain, yet he has to be particularly alert at this age of the voyage, for in many parts of the world there are often rocky islands close to the shore he is approaching. So, the appearance of land at the end of a long sea, he has to be particularly alert. Now, read the question. At what stage of a sea journey must a captain be particularly alert? The answer is simple. A captain must be particularly alert at the appearance of land at the end of a long sea voyage. Okay, he has to be particularly alert at this stage. So this stage refers back to the appearance of land at the end of a long sea voyage. So the answer was like that. But he must be alert when the land appears. But see this answer. The appearance of land at the end of a long sea voyage must be a welcome sight for any ship's captain. This answer is wrong. You will not secure marks for this answer. You know why? Because although it has quoted the right text, the appearance of land at the end of a sea voyage, but it has added extra information that has made it deviated from the information that was required to answer. The question has not been answered. This is just a statement saying that it is a welcome sight for any ship's captain, but they have asked where they have to be particularly alert. So, using this extra information after a long sea voyage must be a welcome sight for any ship's captain. When they have used this part, it is indicating that you have used extra information that has completely deshaped and distorted your answer actually. Evaluation of information when you have to do using your own words. In question, sometime you will find this signpost that they are asking you to use your own words. First of all, identify the question as own words question. This can be very obvious in the question statement. They ask you to use your own words. Finding keywords that you will recast in your own words. Now, although in own words question you have to use your own words, that does not mean that you have to use your own words from your imagination. Not at all. You actually depend on you can say you can depend on the text even for using your own words. You need help from the text. So you will use different words, but you will recast actually. You will use the actual text wording that has been used. You have to find the key words that you want to quote, you want to put in your own words later on that rightly answer the question, and evaluate weight up these words to see their meaning in the text and find synonyms. You will then, after selecting certain words that you think answer and give information that will be the right answer to the questions being asked, then you will change them into your own words using synonyms. This is very important note. Don't use alternative word, because those alternative verbs, those are the derivative of the same word. For example, if you use the word what they know, and the actual text word was knowledge, so know is a derivative that belongs to same word family, knowledge. So know and knowledge are actually, know is actually derivative of knowledge, so you can use what they learned like that. Here is the example. In time, our early ancestors came to rely a great deal on communicating knowledge to one another. This enabled them to find more food. Now, communicating knowledge using your own words, say what enabled our ancestors to become superior to many other animals in finding food. So what enabled our ancestors? Communicating knowledge to one another, but we have to use your own words. They pass. Now communicating, we will use pass on, that is a synonym of communicating knowledge. They passed on to one another what they had found out. They had found out, this is an alternative for the word knowledge. Another example, the construction of the lighthouse began in 1895, and because of the island's isolated location and hostile weather, it took 4 years to complete. Now, what is the question? Why did it take 4 years to build the lighthouse? Answer in your own words. Here are the keywords. The reasons why it took 4 years to build the lighthouse: isolated location and hostile weather. Say, for example, so for isolated location, you can use far away, far off, like isolated, far away, separated, lonely, and hostile, nasty, bad, unkind. So in answer, you can use these things. There are other signposts in the question that you can use. For example, what had made the lieutenant furious? Answer in your own words. So you will quickly jump to this word in the text, furious, to focus on that part of the text. The other thing is, be short in your writing the answer. You will not get extra marks for the extra information. It will be unnecessary. It will be of no use if you keep adding extra information. There can be two types of extra things that you add, the students normally add in O-level English exam and in IGCSE too. So avoid using tests from the stem of question unnecessarily. For example, if they ask you, why was she so upset? And now, because because her father died, if the reason, that would be enough. But if you keep adding these things like she was upset because her father, so this stem, when you use words from the question stem, you will not get extra marks for this. So be focused on time. If you want to develop your skill how to write actually in very precise English, and how to be a good writer in using shortest possible words to express great meanings, you must read essays of Francis Bacon. Although he wrote these essays 500 years back, but they are still relevant. He had extraordinary quality of pithiness or preciseness in his writing. So you may find it hard to read it, but if you once read it, you will really be a master of writing in shortest possible words. So no extra mark for giving extra elaboration. Two things. One was using question stem of the question, and the other thing is elaboration. Now you have described the same thing in a sentence, and you are just elaborative sentences you are adding up, explaining that those will be extra clauses in sentences. You don't need to add them. Then combining information, where do we need combining information? Once you have identified in those type of questions where they ask you like give two reasons, where they ask you like in recent specimen paper of 2024 issued by Cambridge, there was a question in reading text A that described the Mowards different feelings about mole climbing on the tree, like that. So from the different parts of the text you will find different feelings. Now how to combine them, that is a beautiful art. If there are three lines available in the answer and they ask you three reasons, so keep each reason on a separate line. And marks are also a code for different and distinct answers, or a depth to the more basic answer. There can be either distinct answers completely that you have to combine, like reasons, like other things, or there can be a more depth elaboration of the basic answer that can be a different separate aspect. And marks also show that when there are 2 marks or 3 marks, more than one, it means it is demanding more than one thing to be answered in your answer. But how to combine them beautifully, that you need to have a wide range of vocabulary and grammatical structure to use. So in your regular classes, when you are attending classes with a teacher, here comes the role of teacher. He keeps checking your work and gives you feedback and helps you refine your answers. The sun beat down on the pavement of the town. It was home to 3,000 or so inhabitants, with its quaint little market stalls selling hot food, it winding streets and crowded shops. Outside the town, boys played on the banks of the dried up river. So question is, how can you tell what the weather is hot? That the weather is hot. Give two reasons for your answer. Now trace it out, stop the video, search out, and you can add your answer in the comment section below. So here is another example. In the middle years of the first century AD, Pompeii was a prosperous and thriving city, only a few days' journey by road from the great city of Rome. It had about 20,000 residents and was situated on a well-watered coast plain with particularly fertile soil, bearing three or more crops a year. The climate was gentle with brief winters, long springs and autumns, and summer days cooled by sea breezes. Now give three reasons why the coastal plain around Bambi could bear three or more crops a year. So here are things: well-watered coast it was, fertile soil, and long springs. So this way you will find the keywords, you will find the information. So these are combining information type questions. The last thing that many of you, as one of my good student also told me, that he had to struggle. He always found it difficult to deal with characters feeling question. Keep in your mind, you need to prepare feeling vocabulary. I have given in my previous lecture, I have shared with you a lot of many words associated with, and you can use them to describe certain feelings. For example, I have given this one example, the vocabulary of happiness and joy. So you can use elated, ecstatic, jubilant, cheerful, content, blissful, radiant, delighted, and euphoric. So he was like ecstatic, jubilant, and the question can ask you, give detail from the text. Now, how you will find a certain text showing a certain feeling? Here are expression I have given in my video. All types of feeling vocabulary I have showed with the examples from narrative text, like a broad smile spread across his face. These type of expressions you will find in narrative text. So with these lines, you will get, oh, a broad smile spread across his face. It means he was so cheerful, he was content, he was feeling happy, he was joyful, like that. So there are also the feelings of excitement and happiness and sadness and other, and the enthusiasm and shock and surprised. So all type of feeling related vocabulary and how to describe the character's feeling, I have shared with you another video in my previous lecture. So you can go through that video if you have not yet. I hope so that your problem for tackling with character's feeling question will forever be solved after watching that and preparing that vocabulary. Thank you very much for watching. If you want a certain topic from your course to be addressed in our next lecture, you can add your suggestion and your review in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.